Andrew Berry kind of ruled out the idea of bringing MJ back. Martin Emerson Jr. coming back off of Achilles injury, I believe, from last camp. And frankly, with the addition of Tyson at the outside boundary corner and Denzel, neither of those guys are going to move to the slot. Emerson's not really a slot corner. He does better on the outside. So, unfortunately, he wants to. I think it's more of a. It's not we don't want him back. I think it's more he wants to get an opportunity to start or compete for a starter role, which is fine. But for him, if the chance to play on one of the best defenses in the league with some of the best corners in the league, and I can only help your status, I would think, for next year. So hopefully MJ will get that stuff squared away. He'll be back with the Cleveland Browns, and we'll
Was there any update on the whole Jim Schwartz fiasco? So he's not a coach now with us, obviously, but he's not down in Atlanta with Stefanski.
No, he resigned. So he's under contract. He could not. They did not let him out of his contract.
Okay, so it's the same thing. Like when a head coach leaves, it's kind of like the whole Sean Payton thing. Like you almost trade a contract.
Yeah, which Kevin Stefanski, if you're interested in blowing some fifth-round picks on shitty quarterbacks, perhaps you'd like to trade for Jim Schwartz. I think he could be available for a third-round pick.
Sure, why not? Well, he's already got the gang back together. He's got Tommy Reese. He's got Alex Van Pelt down there. It's him, and they're reigniting the whole thing.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see what they do.
And Brian Robinson, speaking of which, signed with Atlanta as well.
Oh, Brian Robinson Jr.?
Yeah.
I just
so
saw
it's
that.
there, and Bijan, it's going to create a fantasy nightmare.
Tua as your quarterback. There's no rush to get Penix back, I hear. So it's going to be a shot for Tua, and that's a pretty good offense to build around Tua. I mean, Kevin Stefanski in a rollout, play action. Another left-hander. Maybe he'll want Dylan Gabriel down there, too, just in case.
I mean, you know what? That sounds about like a Kevin Stefanski type of thing, man. So, all right, let's seriously roll into this.
Yeah, let's get into it.
I do think it's a bad idea that they rolled back the ruling. I'll say that much. I think they should let him trade 5 years in the future. Why not?
I mean, the idea of it is really the fact that, it gives you that flexibility. And who doesn't want flexibility when creating a trade? Whether you're going for the home run and you're trying to trade 3 years in advance to get that player that you need, like a quarterback, like the Stafford trade, or whatever to get you over the finish line. Or you're a team like the Jets, the Browns, the Cardinals, who are currently in tank mode and probably just looking to capture future assets for their players. Because each year down the road, that draft pick becomes less valuable. In fact, I just saw Barry actually talked about it in his interview this weekend at the Owners Convention, where essentially next year's pick is worth a 1 round lesser value. So if, for instance, if you're getting a first round pick next year, that's like the equivalent of a second round pick this year, vice versa. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So the idea that you could, I don't know if that means that 5 years from now, the first round pick could be worth a fifth rounder or a fourth rounder 4 years from now, third rounder 3 years, et cetera. I don't think it's quite that drastic at that longer term.
But as you get closer, then are you then reassessing the value of that then? I mean,
the current value of a draft pick is always the highest, right? Because you don't know who the draft class is going to be 3 years down the road, et cetera. I mean, look at all the guys that kind of planned for the 2026 year, like Barry, who drafted for an extra first-round pick this year, probably thinking that Arch Manning or somebody was going to be there. They're not. And same thing with the Jets, who mortgaged quite a bit. Now, they were smart enough to go into the 2027 first-round picks when they were talking with Indiana and Dallas about making trades. So,
that makes sense. No,
obviously, there's a benefit to it. I think apparently everybody thought it wasn't going to pass, and that might have been the case. That's a pretty insane rule for an NFL that's kind of stingent, not as stingent as Major League Baseball, where you can't even trade draft picks. But
there's a whole different component when it comes to draft picks in the MLB.
I want to get into that a little bit later when we get to the Guardians, because I do have some questions and I'm hoping you could answer them for me. But so the rules off the table. Draft is 3-4 weeks away now.
It's the 23rd to the 25th.
Yeah, and we're gonna get into our mock draft 4.0. So it is just over 3 weeks. So if you want to join us live in studio, hit us up, sports@guyssports or guysnight.com, night with a K. And
did you just forget your own YouTube title?
No, it's the email addresses. They get so confusing. Oh, okay. There's so many of them.
What do you get your work, personal, and this?
Yeah. Speaking of confusing, if you don't want to be confused about who the Guys Night channel is, you can get your very own chopping board made just like that from Why Not Solutions, one of our sponsors, premier woodworking company here in Burbank, Ohio. And anything that you're looking for, they can have it custom made. They do it 1 by 1, and they make sure that they put their hands on everything. So
what else does he do besides boards?
Really anything you can do. He's going to help us with the table. So
I knew that.
The upcoming table is going to be pretty awesome. He does
should
a
we
lot
get
of
some
stuff
custom? Should we get a custom like cigar box?
Yeah, we
That'd be
actually
cool.
talked about that. You know, some of the stuff that he does too over there at Why Not is they do like do you remember those dinosaurs where like you had to take the little pieces of wood out of the things and then you like built them and they were like little
I
skeletons?
don't know.
So there used to be these things and they still
Oh
make
yeah,
them.
yeah, yeah, it came in like a sheet, and you
Yeah, and then you
popped it out.
popped
Yeah,
them
yeah,
all
yeah.
out,
Okay,
and then you
yes,
put
yes,
it
yes.
together.
Sorry.
It looked like dinosaurs. So they make all kinds of like 3D puzzles and stuff like
Oh,
that out of
sweet.
wood. Plaques. They do a lot of stuff for the military and veterans and stuff like that. If you're looking for a specific veteran plaque to memorize either your service or a loved one's, look them up. Why Not Solutions? Link in the description. Um, but yeah, so we're gonna get into our mock draft 4.0 here. But obviously, the one thing that happens every single day leading up to the draft, really from the day that the Super Bowl is over until now, is draft position changes
Yep.
on the daily.
Yep.
You know, what do you think about the rumors that Ty Simpson could go as early as 6 to the Cleveland Browns?
I don't buy it. I don't buy it at all.
I don't buy it.
I
I
think
think
this
that
is a
they're
whole
trying really
marketing,
hard
like-
to get him up there into the first round after he came out when he could have stayed another year at Bama.
So no, what I think is ultimately, and I saw this online as well. It's the whoever's talking about it, which is Dan Orlovsky, is really pushing really, really hard for this, and it's because Ty Simpson and Dan Orlovsky are signed to the same agency. So you can kind of imagine
Read between the lines.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
definitely some. No, again, could Ty Simpson go in the first round? Maybe.
I mean, he
Could
does
Ty
have
Simpson
some
be in the
ties to
second round?
Munkin too. I thought that was pretty interesting. Not that
I didn't see that. I didn't know what
he's
he
got
was.
some ties to Munkin. I don't remember what the ties are, but they're family friends or related or something to that nature. Which I think they're related actually. Yeah, go figure. Just what we need is another quarterback.
Again, I don't see a quarterback worth taking in this class. And we're gonna get into the BPA versus fit situation here in a second.
Yeah,
But I don't want Ty Simpson anywhere near this team.
I 100% agree. I think that you're either Shador and you put every effort you can into making Shador successful. Because, you know, it's funny, as we all talk about the quarterbacks of 2027, let's not forget that a year ago, people were saying Shador was a top 2-3 pick. Now he slid to the 5th round. Who knows what all went into that? There's all kinds of rumors and talk
A
about
lot of speculation of his interviews.
his interviews, him telling teams he didn't want him to draft him. He didn't have an agent. Like, so much went into that.
Didn't his dad represent him?
He didn't really I guess. I mean, together maybe they kind of did a piss poor job of it. And there's obviously something that goes into being an agent and getting players ready, like we just talked about with Ty Simpson, right? Like they're going to be talking about Monroe Freeling, who before the combine was a late first round pick at the very best and undiscussed at all. Now he's being, you know, brought up as a potential for us at 6 just because he played left tackle. And wasn't necessarily one of the top, you know, but either way, so getting back into it, I don't know if that's what did it, but either way, Shador's still here. He showed some flashes last year. You have a new system coming in. Hopefully, at this point, they've addressed the offensive line, and they're going to address wide receiver and some targets in the draft.
Yep.
And hope maybe there's even potential trades. Barry's been known to make those 5th round trades for wide receivers, whether it be Jerry Jeudy or, you know, even going back to Amari Cooper, that paid off really well. So there's potential for them to do that, which would be a huge help for us, and could give Shador a chance to be successful this year. He could be our franchise quarterback. He's had 7 games to kind of show us. I'm not ready to write that possibility off. I'm still prepared that we might have to take one in 2027. I don't want to jeopardize that chance.
I'm fine with that.
But ultimately, like, let's not, you know, just give up and draft another quarterback right now that we have to. Then at the end of the year, what if we still don't know? Right?
Let me ask you this. What are you willing to sacrifice? Shit hits the fan. Stuff goes wrong. Season wasted again. You're up there and you want to grab the best possible quarterback. What are you willing to sacrifice for it?
Well, it depends. Honestly, it doesn't depend on anything. If I would give up everything.
Okay.
I mean, I just think about it. If what Cleveland Browns need is a quarterback that they go all in on and they commit. You know, I thought that was what we did with Baker. He had the injuries that final year before he got traded, and somebody decided that they were the smartest person in the room and took advantage of Houston shopping Deshaun Watson. That whole mess comes about. We're on the hook for $250 million guaranteed. He's supposedly going to get a shot. I think that's just smokescreen. I think
100%.
I think the idea that they're leveraging that out there is a couple of things. One, you don't want Shador to just think that he's walking into camp with a starter role already assigned to him,
But
right?
we all kind of know he already is.
To a degree. He's going to definitely start off with the starter reps, I would imagine, because that's where it ended out last season. But I don't see any way, because here's the thing, and I heard it on 92.3 The Fan and some other ones. If Deshaun wins you 7, or let's say he wins you 9 games and Shador wins you 6, which one are you better off with? Well, if you won 9, you, what have you said, stuck in purgatory. You probably didn't make the playoffs, and now you're going to have a question of, do we give him an extension? How well did he play to get those 9 wins? If Shador wins 6, you can still take your shot at the quarterback next year and not worry about it. It's not costing you anything. You're not at a loss. So I don't think there's any chance that Shador's not the starting quarterback for at least 14 games this year.
I'm going to level with you here completely. I'm so sick and tired of talking about this team.
The Browns?
I've kind of just gotten to like my boiling point with it. Like we can go around constantly talking about, what they can do and stuff like that. And that's fine. We continue to well, but like until they really start proving to me that they're like moving in the right direction and they're not just putting Band-Aids over wounds that need stitches, I'm really just sick of giving this team the time of day in my life.
Yeah, I get that, but you look back to it, dude. Think about this team was like 3 plays away from going to the AFC Championship
But they
game.
didn't.
Well, hold on a second. But not only did they didn't make those plays, right? Whether it be the Hollywood play at the half, the Chad Henne running for a first down on 3rd and 19, just whatever didn't happen. Either way, that was a team that was right there with the Super Bowl champion.
Yeah.
And then the next year, Baker gets hurt, right? Was it the following year that he got hurt? Or
no, it was that follow-up season because I think it was when we added Clowney to that. I think it was after. It's somewhere with them, but I know what you're saying.
Either way, shit went wrong. Baker's injured. Then we go out and no, it was the next year he got injured because he was off and all that season. Then the next year we realize he has a bad season. He's injured. We go out for Deshaun. That's 2022. Deshaun doesn't play that year at all. I think, or maybe he plays like 2 of the last 6 games. Nick Chubb gets hurt the following year. Like it's just every year it just piles on, and then before you know it, your team's 4 years older. And now you're on the last 5 years of Myles Garrett. You're on the last 3 years probably of Denzel Ward. Your offensive line is all young again now, but your defensive line is going to start aging, and you're going to need to start replenishing.
Vice versa on that. Your defensive line is young. Your offensive line is aging.
No, you just signed everybody you signed. I think was in their 20s.
No, Elton Jenkins is 30.
Oh, well, 30 still. I mean, Myles Garrett's 30 on your defensive line. Malik Collins is 31. Yeah. You've got 2 guys that are under 30, I think, on it, other than
Mason Graham.
Yeah, and
Cameron Thomas was at
Cameron
that time.
Cameron Thomas.
Well, he signed somewhere else. I'm saying Alex Wright, Cameron Thomas, Michael
Wright
Hall.
just signed an extension. Hall is on his 3rd year, which means he'll be due for an extension if they're going to sign him.
I'm not going to give it to him.
I mean, who knows how he plays? We'll find out. But either way, yeah, I mean, they're always one play away. They always make the mistake that gets them off track. Then they trade away 3 first-round picks who could have turned into a whole lot of stuff. And then let's translate that into drafts. Instead of taking Jedrick Wills, they could have went best player available and
Tristan Wirfs.
They could have went with Wirfs. They could have had Justin Jefferson on their team. They could have had CeeDee Lamb on this team. We could not need a number 1 receiver right now.
Oh my God, I forgot about that.
Yeah, I mean it's every year.
I forgot that was that draft.
I mean, you could go through best player available. The year that they drafted Baker, they could have drafted Saquon, and then they could have drafted a quarterback at number 4, which could have been Josh Allen.
Oh my God!
Right? Could you imagine having Saquon Barkley?
Has
and
a
Josh
running back
Allen?
ever gone number 1 overall?
I don't know. I'd be willing to bet there has to be.
You know what? You know what I think? There's never been a cornerback that has gone number 1 overall.
No, Deion went number 1 overall to the Falcons. I think. Either he went number 1 or he went number 2. Yeah. Either way, best player available that same year that we didn't take Justin Jefferson or CeeDee Lamb. We didn't take Jordan Love either, who was drafted that year late in the first round.
Oh my! Well, that's fine. Jordan Love pisses
2017, you took Miles over Trubisky. That's best player available. That worked out well for you.
100%.
We had the 12th pick that year.
Well, you technically could have drafted Mahomes.
Well, hold on. That's what I was gonna say. We had the 12th pick that year. Mahomes was drafted at 10. You know who was at 12? Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
So realistically, you could have had Mahomes or you could have had Watson way back then for 3 less first round picks. Instead,
Deion Sanders was the 5th overall pick.
Instead, you traded down to the Texans and got Julius Peppers, who then you kicked out of town when you did the Odell trade.
No,
what?
No, you're getting this wrong. Julius Peppers never played here.
I'm sorry, not Julius Peppers.
You're thinking of Jabril?
Jabril Peppers.
Yeah, he traded in New York with the third and the first.
Yeah, to get Odell. But that was the same year as Watson and Mahomes. So you went from 12 down to 17 to pick.
They could have also taken, honestly, because that draft that was Garrett, Jabril, and David Njoku. You could have drafted. Yeah. You could have drafted Mahomes.
Yeah.
It was Justin Jefferson wasn't in that draft.
No, that's a different one.
TJ Watt and I forget who else. I'm drawing a blank on that.
There's
that
quite
class.
a few stars in that class. Njoku worked out. If you would have had Njoku and you would have traded instead of having Jabril Peppers, you would have had Patrick Mahomes, Myles Garrett, and freaking Njoku. Oh shit. So that goes down to the best player available. So let's talk about this. The big talk right now is everybody's saying at 6, you either take a wide receiver or you take an offensive tackle.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. At offensive tackle and wide receiver,
they're both a need, though.
They're a need, but there's not a player on the board who we would say is a number 6 worthy wide receiver or tackle if we didn't need one.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not in love with any of these wide receivers, to be honest with you. I like my biggest fan that I like, who I personally believe is most complete, is Omar Cooper Jr. in the later half of the first round. But
I just saw him mocked to the Ravens at 14. Actually,
yeah, he's moving up boards.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to be there at 20. I don't think he's going to be there at 24.
No.
I'm interested to see. And could you pull up my draft? Because we might as well just move into this as well.
Well, hold on. Before we do that, we're going to move into the draft. We're talking about like the values, though.
I don't see an offensive lineman there for us that could fill left tackle, because your left tackle spot's the only spot open left.
Right.
You're not moving Titus Howard there. You're not moving Alton Jenkins there.
We're going to get into the draft, and we'll talk about this argument as wide receiver, tackle, or do you just take the best player available? I think I'm more the best player available, but has running back value changed?
Yeah.
Like, again, is it back?
In terms of like they're like super, super valuable?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Because you got to look. All right, so if you remember, like when Nick Chubb was tearing it up, no pun intended.
Ouch. Brutal. Ow.
No, but when Nick Chubb was tearing it up, he was refusing to take a smaller deal, not necessarily because he didn't want to, but because he didn't want to hurt the other running backs. That was at a point like 19, 20, 22. That was at a point where like running backs were starting to get degraded. There were no first-round picks. In fact, there was no first-round running back taken. Where's my notes? In 22 or 2024. But now you have what's the running back out of Notre Dame? Love's name being talked about? Is it Jeremiah Love? Jeremiah Love.
And Jadarian Price, too, his backup.
Yeah, but Jeremiah Love's they're talking about him possibly being a top 5 pick. You had Gentry go at 6, I think, last year. Genty. Did I say Gentry?
Yeah.
Oh, Montgomery. You had Bijan Robinson, and then you had Jahmyr Gibbs, right? So you had all these guys go in the first round over the last couple of years, and then you had Kenneth Walker Jr., who was a split carry back, just get $15 million a year from Kansas.
I can't believe that. Yeah, Kansas City. He got 3 years, $45 million. I can't believe that personally.
So now that you hear him talking about Jeremiah Love, it's like, man, is the value of running backs there again? Like, I mean, obviously he's like 210, runs a 4.3 40, and he's quick.
I got to be honest with you, since I have no realistic chance of seeing him in a Cleveland Browns uniform, I've kind of stayed away from it. I really avoided not giving guys that I don't think are going to be there at 6 or just wouldn't fit the team by nature any kind of attention. And it's not to disrespect the player, of course, but if my team is picking top 6, they're projected top 5. What do I care?
Well, it's just interesting because he floats everywhere, right? Like I think just a month ago he was like a top 14 back, but then obviously or top 14 player. But then when he runs that 4.3 40, all of a sudden everybody starts salivating over him. And I don't see the value, but it's interesting to hear people have the arguments with best player available if Cleveland at 6 would take Jeremiah Love.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, you've got Quinshawn and you've got Dylan Sampson. He could be kind of a mix of both, maybe, but at the same point, why did you draft 2 running backs the year before?
Yeah.
Do you take a third? What does that actually have you do? I just think it's interesting that that's actually something that there's guys contemplating right now, that he could be there at 6 and that'd be something available. But,
I don't think that's a realistic fit.
All right, let's pull up your mock draft there, Ed. So we're on mock draft 4.0, ladies and gentlemen. If you've got a mock draft or you think
are we going to be doing 5.0, 6.0? Are we going to just do everything up until the start of the draft?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll get up to like 8.
Okay.
0.0.
Okay.
All right.
That's fair. I just want to brace the people.
Brace yourself.
3, 2, 1, bang. Okay, so when you look at this,
I don't have your trades in here. Talk to me about how you ended up at 15.
So I screenshotted this here, so I just want to just grab this here.
Now, did you approach these teams or did they approach you?
They offered me.
Ooh.
Okay.
Juicy.
So pretty much all it is I traded from 6 to 9 for the Kansas City Chiefs. I imagine they went up and got Mansour Delane. They need a corner of some kind.
Oh, so you like Mansour Delane when the Kansas City Chiefs are getting.
Well, they don't have Trey. They don't have Trey Murphy anymore. Or not Trey Murphy.
Trent McDuffie.
Trent McDuffie. Thank you.
Same thing.
No, not really. Trey Murphy plays for the New Orleans Pelicans. Trent McDuffie plays for the Rams now. But I got offered 9 and 40, and I said absolutely. So I traded down there, and then at pick 9, I got pick 15 and 46. So I essentially traded pick 6 to go down to 15 and get 40 and 46 as well. So I moved down 9 spots and got 2 inside the top 50. Okay. So I 100% took that. So with being there at 15, I took Makai Lemon. Everybody keeps saying it wrong just as much as I do. He was the best kind of player that would fit this team on the board. I know you're a big USC guy, so I know you can appreciate that.
I'd love to have Makai Lemon on this team.
24. Again, it just fits there. He sat there. He was ranked 28. I'm at 24. I took him. Omar Cooper Jr.
Now, interesting. So before we get into your second round, as you do these mock.
Right. Oh.
All right, there.
All right.
Apparently, it's books on demand.
Oh, wow. Okay, then. All right.
As you
scared me for a second. I thought someone was like in the closet.
There's like an Englishman I got locked away.
There's a closet on the side door right there.
So as you do these mock drafts, I think the first round is kind of standard, right? Like where we're picking, like the same people are there, maybe 1 or 2 changes.
Yeah.
Are you noticing the second round starting? Do you go by consensus or are you doing PFSN or how?
PFSN.
Okay, I do consensus. So I was just gonna say, like, I've noticed the last couple of times I've gotten the second round, I wasn't happy with anybody that was available, and I find myself revisiting the idea of trades. We'll talk about that next. As far as trades that might be available for the Browns. If I'm Cleveland, I think that second round pick can be traded for a veteran receiver. Like, it's got to be on the table for sure, because I just don't think the value's there in the second round. But we'll see. Go ahead with your picks here. You got 39.
So I took Traden Stukes. Really good player, really good athlete. 4.33 speed, 10.10 broad jump. He's good size, good weight. Another corner that I think can fit really, really well into this group. Have you seen any tape on this kid?
No, I haven't watched him at all.
I would advise you to just, again, watch some tape on him. I think he's a really good athlete overall. I'm really impressed with him. I think he can stick at corner. If you want to put him at safety, you can. Great.
Does he fit the man-to-man scheme? Does he play a lot of press coverage at Arizona, though, or are they more zone coverage?
You cannot ask a baseball player those types of questions. I have no idea what you're asking me. You're now turning me into the chick at the car dealership where I goes, oh, I like this one. Why? Because it's nice and shiny.
It's got cup holders.
Yeah, it's got cup holders and leather seats, and I could totally fit all my girlfriends in there.
Perfect.
I have no idea. I don't know the scheme fit that they ran over there. But again, moving down at 40, I got Emmanuel Pregnon. Guard depth, I'm still not a believer in Zion Johnson. I know Tevin Jenkins can't stay healthy from time to time. And depending on what you want to do with Titus Howard, that'll obviously play into effect there. Again, Elton Jenkins as well. We also moved into Sam Heitch. I think I'm saying that name right. Hetch out of Kansas State. He's a center. Depth, can't have enough of it, especially when you have a little bit of an older group, some inconsistent guys. If they go down, you can plug and play these guys there. Linebacker Jake Golday out of Cincinnati. He started at Ohio State. It was either him or Joe Royer.
Joe Royer,
he started at Ohio State.
Recruit at Ohio State.
Yep. Thank you. I always mix these two up here, but good linebacker depth. Same thing as we get down the board. Bud Clark, depth linebacker. Joe Royer, rotational tight end. He didn't have any drops last season.
No,
didn't have any drops at all.
That's impressive.
Didn't have a ton of receptions and wasn't targeted too heavily, but when he was, it was awesome. And then Jay Sean Barham. And then I traded the last 2 7th rounders for a Cincinnati 7th rounder later on just next year. I'm like, you're not going to draft 10 players and expect all of them to make the team. So I just said, hey, I'm just kicking the can. Give me a 7th rounder. You guys can have 2 7th rounders later as well.
Wow. Okay.
So a lot of this, again, past pick 70, it's all or even at 70 and down, it's really just depth pieces that could fit in, plug and play. They're guys that ultimately they're not going to probably start. They're going to rotate in there from time to time, but they're decent to have. There's good upside in all these guys. The only problem that I have, and I don't want to get too far ahead of myself when I talk about these guys, because we do have some sleeper picks that we'll talk about a little later. So I'll touch base on them.
All right. So it's funny when you look at that. I love the first 2 picks because they address the wide receiver in the room, their wide receiver need in the room. And you got 2 really good run after the catch guys. You got 2 guys that can make plays, run great routes. No height. That's the only downside to them both, I think, because the wide receivers we have. Judy, I don't know what he'll do. And then you've got Tillman, which I think he'll stay on there for another year, but he'll be gone. So you're missing that 6'3", 6'4", 6'5" receiver. But I'll have to look into trading Stooks, see how he plays. I like Emmanuel Pregnon. He's been on my board a couple of different times where I've picked him up.
If he's just there, like there's no point in not taking him. Like it's a great. I mean, people want to crap on the fact that it's a guard or it's an offensive lineman. Like who really cares? It's not this flashy player. If the best player on the board is right then and there, I want you to take him because I'm going to be happy with the fact that this O-line is going to be rebuilt because then Shador feels more comfortable and can play better.
Yeah, it's interesting as you look at this, right? And you see the different ways that things are being put together. I'm starting to look at players in that 3rd and 4th round, and you got to start to see where the real hard work comes as far as the scouting department goes, as far as the GM's job, right? As far as being able to kind of dictate that draft board. And Barry said, starting next week, really this week, beginning of April is when they start kind of doing their ideas on where guys are going to go. They'll start doing their personal mocks and kind of figuring out where they think the board's going to fall. And it's interesting to do that because every time I've done a mock draft online, and don't get me wrong, I've done 7 or 8 or 9 at a time, everything changes across the board. So I'll pull up mine. Mine is kind of a little crazy. So for those who are listening, make sure that you guys like, subscribe, follow. Love to hear your complaints. Love to hear everybody have their own kind of ideas on what they would do for their mock draft. But my original mock draft was actually not my current pick at 6. I actually had Mansour as my cornerback pick at number 6 because I have this weird feeling that Barry's going to do something off the wall at 6. And I was like...
In drafting a cornerback 3 in an already talented room.
So
makes total sense.
If you've watched Mansour's tape, he plays a tight one-on-one coverage. He was in the mid-90s through PFF rankings all year round. Easily in game 1 versus Clemson proved that he is the best cornerback in college football right now. Great size, 6'1", 200. He's a hell of a tackler, sure tackler. I mean, so the potential of, we talked about Denzel and how many years he had left. At that point, if I was drafting him at 6, I could look at moving from a 3rd round pick or even moving a 3rd round pick next year along with Denzel to maybe get an extra 1st round pick, maybe in that 16 to 18 range where I might find my left tackle. Because I mean, if you have Sauce Gardner last year managing 2 1st round picks and a 4th, if I can give up a 3rd and Denzel and get back into the 1st, the value's there for it for the team that needs a corner.
Would you take like 33 and 34, like the just outside the top, just outside the inside, or just
straight
outside? Up? No, you take your Denzel and you take the 3rd rounder and pick 33 or 34.
You're saying would I give up a 3rd of mine and Denzel for just a high 2nd rounder?
Yeah, it could border. It's pretty much borderline still the 1st round.
I think you're
point.
more likely to get some. I think you can get yourself into the 17 to 20 range. I
don't realistically see that happening.
I think you're getting a contender who needs a cornerback to be a playoff contender, like Detroit. I think that Detroit would be the ideal situation. If you called up Detroit and said, "Hey, I'll give you a 3rd rounder in 2027 and Denzel Ward for 17," I think they make that. Because he's better than any quarterback they're going to get in the draft, and they have.
I mean, the Terrion Arnold situation is kind of fucked up. So yeah,
but either way, I don't know if that would even be a case. But that's what my original plan was. But I forgot to actually make the trade, so I went ahead and redid my draft, and I'm sticking with Caleb Downs. I need a leader on this defense that's going to, especially in the secondary. I think that Caleb Downs is a guy who can play in the box. He can play a deep. He can play the coverage on the zones. He's a sure tackler. I cannot see him miss tackles at all.
Oh my God. I just saw, wait. I just saw your trade to the bottom left corner.
Hold on. Wow. Easy. We'll get to that. We're going to get to that. All right. So don't, I had to hide it there so that you don't get too excited. At number 24, guy who constantly shows up is Blake Miller, tackle out of Clemson. solid tackle, had a good win percentage, only gave up 2 sacks last year. I don't know if he's going to be there at 39 or if he's going to be that first round pick. But the more and more I looked at 24, I didn't see the value there at any other position.
Strongsville, Ohio boy.
Is he really?
Yeah, went to Strongsville High School.
I mean, that just makes even more sense. Number 39, I called up Arizona, and I'm still obsessed with trying to trade for Marvin Harrison Jr. I think 39 is what gets you that pick right now. He's kind of low value and it's kind of surprising, but if I could get that, now I've fixed my wide receiver and my tackle position, and I got the best player available at 6 with Caleb Downs. Number 44. So here's what happened. At number 33, the New York Jets drafted Ty Simpson.
Okay.
As soon as I saw that, I hit pause, and I was like, well, if they drafted Ty Simpson, they don't need a quarterback next year. Who drafts their quarterback at 33, and he's their guy. So I said, all right, well, if that's the case,
it's terrible logic thinking, but okay.
If that's the case,
who doesn't need their quarterback after 1 year of it not working out?
What is the best way to give a solid rookie quarterback success? And I told myself the best way to do that would be to put him in a chance to win. So I traded Myles Garrett to the Jets for 44 and 103, so a second and a fourth, and 2 2027 first-round picks. I chose the Colts and the Jets first-round pick. I didn't ask them for the third one. I thought that was 1, 2027 picks are high value right now. 2, I'm getting an extra second-rounder this year, so 2 firsts, a second, and a fourth. According to draft value, I'm low on draft value.
I was going to say, yeah, that's a little low.
I could have thrown something else in there. I looked at this as like I'm getting 2 first-round picks in 2027, which are highly coveted right now. Myles Garrett, I love you. I hate to see you go, but this was just too good to pass up.
I don't care.
Next year, now I'm sitting with 3 first-round picks, all potentially in the top 15. I'm in line to get my quarterback, and if I don't need a quarterback, there's Jeremiah Smith, there's Colin Simmons out of Texas,
there's plenty of other players.
If I don't need a quarterback because Shador sets the world on fire this year, and I have the first overall pick, I can go ahead and get 3 more first-round picks because somebody will trade up for that first-round pick and give me the moon. We'll see what happens.
So you finally are on the train with me of trading Myles Garrett.
I'm not on it unless it has to make sense. I don't want a first-round pick I don't want Buffalo's first-round pick for the next 3 years. I don't want the Rams' first-round pick for the next 3 years. I want extra first-round picks next year, and I need them now because that changes the whole focus of the rest of my draft. Number 44, after I make that trade at number 44 with the Jets pick, I take Anthony Hill Jr., linebacker out of Texas.
I'm going to stop you and just tell you your logic is stupid.
Why?
The Jets draft Ty Simpson at 33.
Yeah.
And your initial thought is, oh, they don't need their first rounder next year. They have their guy.
Yeah.
No.
Why would they draft a quarterback if they're going to throw all their eggs in the basket for a quarterback
next year?
Yeah.
Well, what if he stinks? What if Ty Simpson doesn't work out and they need that first rounder to draft a quarterback?
Well, what if they've done their diligence and they're taking a quarterback at 33 and they actually didn't take him?
Jets. Okay.
Yes, which means it doesn't matter who their quarterback is. He's going to suck. Right?
Exactly. So they want their first rounder next year so they can draft another quarterback.
I'm telling you right now, dude, I think if they took a quarterback this year, they wouldn't take down the New York Jets having Myles Garrett. That's like football freaking just media dream. They'd all be excited.
That is Myles Garrett's worst nightmare. I think he wakes up in a pile of cold sweats.
Well, I don't know that Myles would necessarily go over there. But hey, he would be paired up alongside Arvell Reese. Because that's who the Jets took at number 2.
Okay.
So Arvell Reese and Myles Garrett on the defensive line, dude.
They don't. Wow. You mean a rookie that Myles Garrett has to pretty much reteach everything to?
And then at 16, they got Mekhi Lemon. So they had Mekhi Lemon.
Garrett Wilson
at wide receiver.
Ty Simpson
be their quarterback. And then they've got Myles Garrett and freaking Arvell Reese. That's
terrible.
That's good
offense.
bones. That's good bones.
Yeah.
That's good bones. Yep. Anyhow, back to my mock draft. You're ruining it for me.
Sorry, but
Anthony Hill Jr., while I was looking at second-round picks, this was just a guy that I started watching his tape, and dude, this dude flies sideline to sideline like nobody's business. Him alongside Schlesinger would be so disgusting.
It's gross.
Especially with the news that, it looks like we're not going to see JOK ever again here in Cleveland, which is like the saddest thing ever. Anthony Hill Jr. I think plays a role with that side to sideline tackle ability. Still, and oh, by the way, great blitzer. Had like a 40% blitz success rate. So, number 70, Zachariah Branch, still hooked on putting a slot receiver with return skills. I'm tired of us trying to find third-rate returners and just be like, bring them in, and they always blow out either their Achilles, they get their knees injured, they can't catch the ball, they fumble the football. I want a guy who can return punts for the next 6 years.
Are you referring to Anthony Schwartz?
No, not even. Well, Schwartz was one of them, but then you had
Jakeem
Jakari.
Grant?
No, was it Jakeem Grant?
Yeah, we signed him from the Dolphins, and he ended up tearing his ACL
twice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Back-to-back years.
Yeah, and then I forget who we signed
That
last
man got
year.
paid $16 million to do nothing.
Well, tear ACLs, not anybody else.
If someone
not from
if someone paid you $16 million and you tore both your ACLs, would you be happy?
I mean, I'd be happy with $16 million. So
Okay,
yeah,
well then
I can't say I would complain. Now,
Yeah.
if I wanted to make $20 million, I'd be disappointed. You know, I can't make that again.
Tough.
Anyway, Zachariah Branch is a return specialist. Kicks, punts, doesn't matter. 4.3 speed, great slot receiver, can play in the screen. I mean, he's just got a lot of places on the field that he could bounce around and be at. Next at 83, this guy is like, he's all over on draft boards. He can be as high as 60. He could be low in the 90s. I don't know how to pronounce his first name. Danny Dennis Sutton.
Yeah, Danny Dennis Sutton.
11 plus sacks at Penn State. The year that he was there with who was drafted, Abdul Carter last year.
Yes.
That dude had more pressures than Carter did last year for Penn State. He is so fast off the ball. And I was like, man, this guy's kind of exciting. I think he's going to end up being like one of those picks where like the Jaguars pick him in the early second round and you're like, what? But he was there in my mock draft, so I took him. Another surprise, Derek Moore out of Michigan, another defensive end. I believe he had 10 sacks last year for Michigan.
A defensive unit for Michigan, as much as I hate them, I have to give them a lot of credit.
A lot of pressure.
Jayshon Barham, Derek Moore, Jimmy Roller. I mean, it's a lot of good talent right there.
I mean, he had a defensive head coach there for years, you know?
Yeah.
So makes sense. Whoops, sorry.
Markel
pick,
Bell.
Dude, Markel Bell out of Miami.
Is that a D tackle or is that an
offensive tackle?
Offensive tackle.
Left tackle. He is my dun 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 dun. He's gonna actually, not to give it away, but he is my gem of the draft for this week.
Okay.
So we're gonna get into some details on him. And then my last one is Eric Gentry. You know when they say a poor man's so-and-so in this sport?
Yep.
This is Sonny Styles from the West Coast, dude. 6'6", almost 6'7", 230, 4.4 speed, played safety / linebacker / defensive end for USC. He's going to be a 7th round pick because of his tackling. He's just, he kind of gets, it's not that he can't tackle. He just gets beat up in the hole quite a bit. Like he's there, but he gets beat up. I mean, 6'6", 6'7", 225. He's like a string bean running around there.
Just for context, I'm 6'1" and 220.
Yeah.
5.
So add 7 inches, and then all of a sudden you'd have a 6-pack. Damn it.
I knew that was the secret.
I'm going to do a little bit more homework on Eric Gentry because he's there in the 7th round along with Damani Jackson, who we talked about last year. But anyhow, athletically gifted, very similar to Sonny Styles. Sonny Styles is a better ball player up on the ball, but they have some of the same weaknesses. Like they do a lot of arm tackles. They get caught off guard a little bit because of their height when they're coming up against like guards and things like that on inside blitzes.
Yeah.
So we'll see how they played out. But yeah, that's how my draft started out. Unfortunately, Myles Garrett is gone, but I think we're building for the future. Put some pass rushers in there to make sure that we could build up that defense. Anthony Hill, we've got a wide receiver, tackle. And you got Caleb Downs in the backfield. So I think this team's built to start making things happen. We're going to see how this pans out, though, because I might draft it almost exactly like this on Madden.
You still play Madden?
I do. Who doesn't play Madden, dude?
Me. I haven't touched a video game since 2016.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
It's okay.
Hey, I appreciate you guys following. Make sure you like, subscribe, check out the channel. We've got more stuff coming up. Yeah, that was a quick mock draft 4.0 for us. We're gonna